Hey YouTube, welcome back. My name is Ariel and I am back with a new video. It has been a while, but I have had some new developments in my life. I actually got married a couple of months ago. It was really amazing. It was actually in Paris. It was beautiful, very small and intimate. It was just perfect for us. I highly recommend a destination wedding if you are getting married anytime soon. But I do want to talk about that in a little bit more detail in another video, so look out for that one. But as a newly married woman, I have some thoughts on marriage, the institution. What does it mean? Does it matter? Is it something we should be prioritizing, or is it overrated? Let's talk about it. From scrolling social media and talking with friends and family, by the way, I have 4 siblings, 23 and under, so I do hear things, but I get the sense that marriage is on the decline. There's red pills and pink pills and gender wars and sprinkles and drizzles and the 4B movement. The relationship sphere is pretty rocky right now, and I see a lot of anti-marriage and even anti-relationship content. But I was pretty surprised to learn that marriage rates in the US are actually increasing and divorce rates are decreasing. Pretty fascinating. I just wanted to throw that out there because I had no idea that was the case based on the narratives that I hear all the time. So marriage is on the rise, and in my humble opinion, as someone who's been married all of 3 months, I think that's a good thing. I don't think marriage is overrated. I think it's underrated, actually. And here's why. First off, there are tax deductions, medical rights, insurance, and legal benefits that married people are entitled to. When you're married, you can have access to your spouse's health insurance. Your car insurance goes down. If something were to happen to your spouse, you have authority to make medical decisions for them. And you can get Social Security if they pass away. Those are just a few examples. But I think you can see that financially, legally, medically, marriage is just a practical decision. Now, let's get into a little history. On me, that is. I grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents were married. They later got divorced when I was in high school. And I think that does matter to some extent. I did have that nuclear family modeled for me. But the desire to get married wasn't super strong for me. It really wasn't a priority. I did see myself getting married one day, but it wasn't my focus. My focus was on education, career, personal goals. When I met my now husband, and it feels so weird calling him that, but I was really trying to sort myself out career-wise. We dated for about 5 years, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that I really wasn't intentional about marriage. I loved him, of course, and we actually lived together for much of that time, and we were very serious. But there is something different about being married versus being in a long-term relationship. Signing that paper really means something. It takes things to another level. The commitment required really creates a shift in the relationship, and some people really fear that. But I think if you're able to get over that fear of the unknown and make a promise that isn't just words, but it's actually legally binding, that means a lot. It meant a lot to me. And I really didn't realize it was going to be as significant as it was. There's safety in that, security, there's confidence, trust. And I'm not saying that marriage guarantees that and that you can't have that without getting married, but I just felt it like 10 times more when we got married. And the whole concept of getting married kind of forces you off autopilot. A lot of people are dating and even living together and just kind of going through the motions, taking things day by day, and that was me for a time too. But when marriage comes up, you really have to start evaluating some things. You start asking yourself, and your partner to important questions like, do I see myself with this person forever? What does our future together look like? What are my goals and how does that fit with their goals? Of course, you can discuss these questions, at any point in the relationship, and the sooner the better. But marriage planning, like that time period, like pre-engagement, is really a catalyst for introspection and reflection on these kinds of questions. And when you get married, you should feel pretty confident that you and your partner are moving in the same direction toward shared goals. Because when you get married, you're now a team. You are united as one. Your problems are no longer yours. They are the collective's problems. You now face challenges together and you share the wins and the joys together as well. Life doesn't feel as stressful when you have that support system, that teammate right by your side. So I read a Reddit post the other day, and this person, I'm gonna guess he was a guy, but I could be wrong, and he was asking about the benefits of marriage. And he said he and his partner lived together, they split everything 50-50. That's another conversation that I'm not gonna get into. But anyway, they help each other out with expenses when needed, and they have pets together. And he was saying, why do I need a piece of paper to prove my love? Okay, to me this sounds like two individuals just living together. I don't doubt that they love each other and that they could be soulmates and have a really strong bond, but I think the difference when you're married is that you kind of drop that individualistic mindset. You're still your own person at the end of the day, but you operate as a unit. It's not their expenses to help out with, it's our expenses to figure out a way to get them paid. I just think it's easier to live separate lives under the same roof when you're not married. I guess the overall point is that there's a mental shift that happens when you get married, as long as you take it seriously. It's not all white gowns and cake. There's life after the wedding, and that's what you really need to focus on. My husband has told me how different it feels being married, even though our day-to-day life really hasn't changed at all. We were already living together, our routines are pretty much the same, but he said it just feels different, and I have to agree, it really does. Before we were married, in the back of my head, I was like, if things happen to not work out for whatever reason, that can happen, but if they don't work out, I'm out. Not that I wanted to leave, but if things went left, I could leave. But since getting married, that thought has just completely disappeared. If something isn't working for me, we're gonna figure it out, or at least put in all of the effort to figuring it out. And that mindset shift is really significant. Leaving the relationship would have been a much easier choice before getting married. And no, that's not because I don't believe in divorce or will just stick it out no matter what. That's not the case. But it's because I made a conscious decision and commitment that this is the person that I want to be with. Marriage forces you to make that decision. And I know my partner feels the same way. There's security in that. Now, on another quick note, I'm going to be honest. I would be scared to death of having kids if I wasn't married, because I'm gonna need a lot of help, and I don't want to be worried about my partner leaving. And yes, I know he can still leave, even if we're married. Things happen, there's no guarantees, but the likelihood is lower, I think. Given that we went through this whole legal and social process, we discussed our future plans at length, and we're aligned and on the same page with where we're headed. I just feel much safer personally with that framework being in place. That's just me. Everybody's different. But I see people who are more afraid of getting married than of having kids, and I really don't get that. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. So, is marriage overrated? Yes, if you don't take it seriously, if you're caught up in all the fanfare of the wedding, or if you're not willing to fully join forces and operate as a team, then yes, it is overrated. But for me, no, it's not overrated. I actually would love to see marriage get a rebrand because I think having a true partner to tackle life with is incredibly valuable. Now, I know finding that person can be really, really tricky, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below. Let's chat about it. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!